Hi, Tess. I'm Mark.
I'm Shawn.
Hey, so I would just want to get right into it, but before we do that, I gotta ask you how you doing today, man. How does it feel now that sports is back?
It didn't feel as glorious as I thought it would. You know what I mean? Like right now, to be honest with you, um, scrimmages, you know, spring training baseball. I'm waiting for the meat and potatoes, man. Maybe I'll be excited then.
Hey, man. I understand that train of thought, but I don't feel the same. I'm gonna just let you know now. It's kind of interesting knowing that sports is back. Um, it's interesting to see like a lot of stuff is going on. It's interesting to see the fact that there's no fans in the stand, all that, man. It's just
Mm, yeah,
it's a wild ride, man. 2020 is a different type of year, and you just watching it play out when you're watching your sports, it's crazy. But anyway,
yeah.
so so on this episode, we're going to talk about baseball contracts. We're going to talk about NBA restart, NBA players starting up, and we're also going to talk about the NFL restart because training camp is right around the corner. So let's just get into it, man. All right.
Yeah.
So, like I've said before, we don't really cover too much baseball around here. But if something big happens in baseball, we'll talk about it. And a very big deal happened in baseball. Your man, everybody's man, I guess, because he's like one of the top three players in baseball. Mookie Betts signs a 12-year deal for $365 million. Hey, yo, I gotta say, man, I thought it was interesting that it was $365 million. I just thought it was kind of poetic that that was the number because 365. That's a
$1 million a day, man.
you know what I'm saying? Like my
Million
man,
dollars a day, man.
and and basically this is going to be the lifetime of his contract and 365 days in a year. I just put that together in a funny way, and I just kind of laughed to myself. But anyway, man. So Mookie Betts signs a $365 million contract, but there's a caveat to it, and it's an interesting caveat. The fact that his money is deferred, $115 million is deferred uh, all the way up until he's 52 years old, just about. So that's kind of interesting in how that played out. Just going to give you guys a few contract details here. Before I even get into the contract details, how you feel about his contract, Shawn?
Man, first off, I seen it. I was like, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. Um, See, it's the Dodgers, and then Mookie Betts is not only a player that is great, but he has a name. He is marketable. He has all that stuff. The man, when we say talk about athletes, the man does everything. He's a professional bowler in his spare time. You know what I mean? Like the dude is nasty. I've seen clips of him playing football, basketball. He does everything, right? So very marketable. I do not, me personally, I do not put him. There's a gap between somebody like Mike Trout and Mookie Betts.
Well, I
But
mean, there's a gap between Mike Trout and everybody. So,
yes, yes, I just feel like Mike Trout should be the only person making this kind of money. But the market's already been set with Bryce Harper and all that stuff. So like, this is what he should have been paid, I guess. But I just look at these baseball contracts, and even though I know it's coming, I get wowed every time, man. So that's how I felt when I looked at this. But honestly, the Dodgers trying to buy their way into some type of victories here to a World Series. They've been doing this for years, paying a bunch of people. for some reason, it works for the Yankees, but it don't work for the Dodgers. I don't know if this is the move that's going to help them get to their goal, but I just say congratulations to Mookie Betts.
Oh yeah, man. Congratulations to Mookie Betts, and like you said, the market seems to have been set in baseball because it seems like that's what players are going for these days. Every player is going for, like, you have Bryce Harper, you have Mike Trout, um, and crap, another player that signed right the same year Bryce Harper did. Seems like every player is getting these. Name escapes me. It'll probably catch up to me later, but seems like everybody's going for these long-term deals. Now, I don't know if it's the players that are going for these long-term deals or if it is in fact the ownership that are pushing these long-term deals. But either way, these long-term deals are getting signed, and it seems like that's the current market for the top guys. Let me ask you, man. You being a Mookie Betts or a Bryce Harper or a Mike Trout, do you sign a long term deal, or do you bet on your talent and just be like, nah, I'm only doing 5, and then I'm gonna try to get a better deal on the next one?
Man, see, now here's the thing, man. I feel like okay, see, now I'm old enough to remember players like Nomar Garcia Parra, who at the time, you know, in his prime when he was healthy, which was a short window, when he was healthy, he was on. People were looking at him to be on pace to be one of the greatest shortstops of all time. You know, so you have guys like that, like Nomar Garcia Parra, that just got riddled with injury and then disappeared off the face of the planet. And then, yeah, whatever that last remaining contract he had from Boston that they still owed on, they that got paid out, and then what? You know, the man retired very early for his career. His career got shut down quickly. So if somebody like him were to have the long-term deal, he would have made more money in the long run. So I would say this, me personally, I would take the long-term deal, but specifically, I would try to just make sure that if it's what I want as far as staying with that team, then I would want clauses in there to protect me from being traded. That's the only thing that probably the only thing that would stop me from signing a long-term deal like these guys are.
But if you're traded, I mean, the team is just adopting your contract, correct?
That is true, but there's a difference between getting paid $365 million and playing with the Dodgers and getting paid $365 million and playing for the Phillies. No disrespect, you know? So, do you want the money and a chance to get a championship, or do you just want the money?
Well, if Mookie Betts got traded to the Phillies, that would give them a much better shot of winning, seeing how we already have Bryce Harper and Real Music.
I was going to say, ask Bryce Harper how he feels about his money. He got his bag.
Hey,
the Nats won a championship right afterwards. I mean, how does he feel?
Hey, man, listen, we'll get to the Phillies because I have words about a few,
but go ahead.
words, but I do have words. Listen. But I like the interesting part about this Mookie Betts contract is that 115 million being deferred. Basically, and that's just, it's very uncommon for something like that to happen. And the last year that he gets his money is 2044. We're only in 2020, so literally 24 years from now, they'll still be paying on this contract, which is like, that's wild to me. Like this, here, like some details of this deal is that there is no opt out with this deal, and there is no trade clauses with this deal. So at any point, the Dodgers could walk away from this deal. But with that being said, they would have to pay whatever money that he's already accrued from his deferral. And in his deferral, he has $8 million of his 17 million is deferred in the first 5 years. $10 million is deferred in 2026 and 2027, and 11 million is deferred in the last 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. And then this all continues to say that that deferred money is payable each July 1st from 2033 to 2044. The first 5 years of that payment being 8 million, then the next 2 years being the 10 million, and the last 5 years being the 11 million. So it works out for the ownership, I'm guessing, to have this deferred a little bit because they don't have to pay it up front. But outside of that, I don't really see the point of it. I mean, so you don't have to pay it right now, but I mean, you guys are working with monopoly money anyway. So like, what does it really matter? Like you got, I mean, that basically that's upper echelon problems that I'll never understand. But they figured it out how to get their man, how to keep their man. But basically, this kind of keeps them from trading him without opt out or without a trade clause, because as long as he accrues a few, unless he like falls off a cliff next year, as long as he accrues a couple of years, they're not going to want to pay that deferral money right away. So, and how you feel about this deferral?
Man, okay, yeah. First off, I'll say this: it's a contract that I think is very interesting, only because I know baseball owners like to. I mean, they're willing to shell out the money, but and the contracts are friendly. They are player friendly, but this is even more player friendly than most contracts. They're like, oh well, we're in California, okay, so you're gonna get taxed. You know what? We're gonna lower your salary and boost your bonus so that you don't get taxes happening. Oh, and also,
because for those that don't know, non-California residents, as long as it's not your base salary, it's your bonus money, you do not get taxed for that.
Yeah. So.
And Mookie Betts is not a California resident.
Yeah. So taking 17.5 mil and make it a salary, and then giving them 5 mil in bonus, that's saving them a whole lot of money on taxes. Now, that's already hey man, we're gonna hook you up on this. Then they're like, hey man, you want security? Man, forget all these people signing 10-year contracts. We're gonna sign you a 12-year. You know what I'm saying?
We're going.
We know you're knocking on 30's door, but it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna sign you for the 12. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, they turn around and say, you know what? You can have these deferred payments. So I'm pretty sure the way that those talks went was, we'll pay you more. You want more money? Fine. We'll pay you more. We'll give you the number that you're looking for, but we'll have those in deferred payments. So I feel like it was a mutual thing between the two. Like, hey, well, I want my money. Well, we kind of don't want to pay you that. We don't want to pay you that up right now. So they're like, okay, fine. You'll get your money. You cool if I just give you an IOU? And he was like, I guess that's cool, bro. So they took, he took it, and then, so now he's
the rest is history,
money,
as they say.
You know what I mean? And he's like, no, you can't just give it to me, lump sum. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I just watched Blue Streak the other day. Can't just give it to me. I gotta take it from you. But yeah, it's like, no, don't give it to me all in one lump sum, man. I want that for the next 12 years, so after I retire, so I'm saying retire. I mean, we're assuming that this is going to be the only deal that he's playing on. But either way, yeah, he wants that to be like, have I'm retired. I want to have that money, that income coming in. So, but with that said, this is a lot of back scratching, man, for a player. They definitely giving it up right now. And like you said, man, I don't like other than having a backloaded contract that allows them to possibly play with a little more, roster changes or trying to sign other people in the current time while he's still in his prime so that they can make a run outside. But that's just a regular backloaded contract.
Right.
And then, outside of that, like you said, they're saving a few bucks on their own personal pockets, in the meantime. But I don't understand how, in the long term, when he's not playing, it's a good idea. I know you're not familiar with it, but Bobby Bonilla, once upon a time, a great player, nice hitter, nice glove,
say so.
everything. He's the Mets wanted to sign him, man. They wanted to sign him bad enough that they said, you know what, we're going to give you deferred payments of $1.9 million, basically until you're old and gray, if you sign with us. It might not be the bigger contract compared to where you could go, but we're going to defer and you're going to get it on the back end. And the man is still getting paid now. His last payment is July 1st. Every July 1st he gets paid, and he is going to get paid till 2035. He will be 72 years old once he's collected his last check, okay? The Mets thought it was a great idea for the present, and they haven't been able to do anything. It's been a bugaboo since. It's been a bugaboo. So although, and now we're talking about just a little bit of money that he's getting paid. Mookie Betts, they owe him bucks, $8 million here, $10 million here, $11 million here. It's not small money. So, but once again, I guess if you're playing with monopoly money, it's all relative. But either way, I'd say great deal for Mookie Betts. I don't know how this is a good deal for the Dodgers. A little bit risky rolling the dice. But if you really believe in that talent and you think that's your guy for the future, then I guess that's what you do.
Honestly, if I was Mookie Betts, man, I'd be trying to figure out what I could do to get traded in year 7.
You're like, look, man, I'm trying to take my money and skate,
because in year 7,
you can get that deferred money right there. You know what I'm saying? I skate off in year 7.
Yeah, in year 7, he's literally going to be like so for $8 million for the first 5 years, so that's 40, $10 million for the next 2. So they'll owe so if he gets traded in year 7 of the contract, they have to pay him $60 million right there, because one thing of his contract is that if in fact he is traded, the deferred money becomes present money and it has to be paid immediately. So the amount that he would have accrued by that time would be $60 million, which would now have to be paid to him immediately. I would be trying to be like, yo, I'll be talking crap about my coach. I mean, so
you're gonna go full AB, bro. You go full AB?
Yeah.
I'll be like, yo, my helmet. There's something wrong with my helmet. Man.
Yeah, but like, yo,
came back from a fall. My feet hurt.
I'd be like, yo, these bats, man, I keep getting splinters. Like, this is trash.
Hey, man. Hey.
I'll be doing everything, dog.
Hey,
I'll be like, yo, this Dodger hat is crap. I don't know who makes it. Is it Nike? They're trash. Like, I'll be talking all types. I'll be talking crazy.
This dude say he's gonna go full AB on year 7. Like, after year 7, full AB, dog. We trying to get this bread and skate, baby. You know what I'm saying? Operation Antonio Brown under effect.
Exactly. But speaking of the fact that you said that more power to them, that the Dodgers signed their guy, that they got their guy. One team that's not getting their guy, even though they gave up a king's ransom for him is the Philadelphia Phillies. Somehow, I told you I was going to bring it back around.
All right, go for it.
But somehow the Philadelphia Phillies, they haven't re-signed Real Muto yet. They're still in talks, and this is the last year on his contract. So potentially they're allowing a situation where he could go out into free agency, and him being the best catcher in the game doesn't seem like a smart move. And for a team that said that they're willing to pay with stupid money, but yet aren't doing things that look like they're willing to play with stupid money, I do not understand this at all. And maybe you could shine some light for me, man. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar enough to know this, Mark. Baseball free agency is different than the other two major sports, or out of the other three major sports, I should say. It's different. You get free agents in hockey, you get free agents in basketball, football, and they're coveted. And teams have to usually, like, there's always a salary cap issue. There's always a workaround, roster spots. There's so much that goes into it that really not only it kind of narrows the playing field for people that actually have a chance to get that player, but then within those 5 or 6 teams that are jockeying to get that player, they're all pretty close within the window because of the cap restrictions. That is not the case in baseball. Once you become a free agent in baseball, if you are the best at what you do, that's it. Like if you are a team, like I'm a Mariners fan. I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm a Mariners fan. We do not have the money that the Yankees have. Hence why Ichiro, when he hit a certain age and he's like, yo, I'm still good. I want money. We like, well, we can't pay you. We just paid Adrian Beltre. So I guess like that's it. You just gotta let them walk. You either gotta let them walk, but now from what you're telling me, Phillies are saying we got the bread. Hey, I'm holding. You gonna get your money? No, we willing to pay you. No, man, that ain't no thing, man. So they out here balling on a budget and trying to pass that shit off as they got money is what it sounds like. Because I'm telling you, in baseball, if you have the money and you can afford the player, you offer them contracts right away. You cannot let them get the free agency because once they hit the market, you see what kind of contracts they're giving out. Right. You see what kind of contracts they're giving out for talent at the highest level. If you can't compete, you better give your highest mark, your highest amount of money, your highest offer right away. You can't play the back and forth game. You're going to lose that to a team like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Angels. That's the way it works in baseball.
Well, maybe what the Phillies is doing here is basically maybe they're somehow colluding with other teams to control the market. And, like, basically they're like, oh, Real Muto's asking for this, but I know through me and my owner buddies, nobody's going to give him that. So we'll give him so once he hits the market and sees nobody's going to give him that, he's going to take the best that we're willing to give him. Maybe it's something like that. And the way these owners been playing lately, I wouldn't say that's not a possibility.
Yeah, possibility, but I'll be honest with you. Every time I see a player that shouldn't get paid the amount of money that they're asking for, somebody steps out there. Like I said, I'm a Mariners fan. I'm gonna go back to the Beltre contract. Nobody wanted to pay him the money he was asking for. I'm not gonna say nobody. There were some teams out there. You know what we did? We said, okay, you asking for this much, and kind of in competition with everybody. Forget it, man. We just gonna throw that icing on the cake, and we're gonna go after you. You know what I'm saying? That's what the mid-level teams in baseball do. That's why, as a Mariners fan, we watched A-Rod leave Seattle and go play for the Texans. That was back then. That was a 10-year, $100 million contract, or excuse me, 10-year, $200 million contract, okay? The Texans they don't have as much money as the Yankees. They're not as big of a team as the Dodgers. But guess what? There's always that mid-tier team that says, I don't even care if we can't pay the rest of our players. I don't care if we just make the playoffs and lose every year. The star power that this player brings, we're willing to spend that money. Not the case for your guy. Not the case for your guy. He doesn't have that much star power.
No,
but
Real Muto doesn't have that
you
level.
always have to worry about those mid-level teams that are just willing to shell out the dollars.
Real Muto is the best catcher in baseball, and everybody knows it.
That means something. That means a lot, man. If you have a catcher, most catchers aren't good hitters because of the constant squatting. You burn through your legs, on defense.
Right.
That's the way it works. That's why it's such a big deal that Mike Piazza was hitting all the home runs he did over the length of his career and all that stuff. So if you get a catcher that's good at being a catcher, but then he can also hit, you are a commodity. And if you are the best hitting catcher in the league, then guess what? Somebody's going to want you, man. You might not have the star power. You might not have all the other bells and whistles that comes with being a player that gets paid a whole lot. But guess what? If he's going out into the market and going to come out or come back from going out in the market as the highest paid catcher in the league, once again, you can't not let him go out there. You just can't let him go outside, man. You better lock the doors like they did DeAndre Jordan. You better lock that man in the house. You know what I'm saying? The man's knocking on the door.
We about to have a 5-player conference with the coach.
I'm saying, man, you gotta lock that door, man. You could, fine, call your bluff. Go ahead and bluff. Go ahead and bluff all the way into the moment that man looks like he's about to sign somebody. Give him a team visit, go to the house, take his keys, lock him in the house. You know what I'm saying? It's a proven method. It works. I don't know, man, but I don't expect much from the Phillies from Philly teams when it comes to re-signing players, making the right personnel moves. So I don't know why I don't even know why you're holding on to that little glimmer,
Hey, man, you just brought up several things that I want to get to because I want to talk how about that? They did all that for DeAndre, and that amounted to absolutely jack all. That team did nothing. They had so much promise and did absolutely nothing.
But it fell apart fast, though. We're talking about, if you look 3 years later, Blake was gone, Chris Paul was gone, DeAndre's gone now. What are we talking about? It's wild.
That team had so much promise and did absolutely nothing. That's insane to me. But
I also thought it was crazy that they was locking that, they was really trying to go after him. I personally thought, yes, he probably fit better with, not gonna say fit better, but I felt like he was a big cog, even though he was more of a role player. I felt like he was a big cog in that Clippers locker room and in that on that Clippers team, for the things that they wanted to do on the court. I felt like he would have been. They wouldn't have asked him in Dallas to do anything outside of his skill set. Now, with that said, Dallas would have overpaid as well.
Yeah.
But either way, I thought
come on, man. We already know who it is. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban wanted DeAndre so damn bad, dog. Mark Cuban.
They said they knocked on the door. They went to the house. Somebody, the Clippers came over. They locked. They said, "Don't go out nowhere. You got Chris Paul, playing a high level of defense that he usually does. He's at the front door."
Chris Paul bought Cliff with him. Cliff was in the house nah, bro.
I just imagine Chris Paul at the front door getting low with his hands up. You know what I'm saying? I just imagine him locking it down. You know what I'm saying? But then they knock on the door. I just imagine them knocking on the door because they said they knocked on the door. They ring the doorbell, and then you could hear them in the back like, shh, 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 everybody quiet, shh, they're at the door. You know, like I don't know, man. When that shit played out, I'm telling you, the picture that I had in my mind was hilarious, man. I was laughing for days after that.
But no, the second thing I wanted to bring up, man. So you are a 49ers fan. You are a Mariners fan. You are a Seminoles fan.
No.
Gators. Gators. I apologize. But
yes.
yes. But you are a Gators fan, and your team in basketball is who?
I was a Sonics fan. My team don't exist no more. Don't say Thunder.
So
Look, man, I can keep going. I'm a Penguins fan. And in NCAA basketball, I'm a North Carolina fan.
But you're from the DMV. Like you don't like. So why don't you just say I hate my town?
No. I
hate my town.
What I need you to do before anything else is I need you to address the fact that 50% of the people from that area are Cowboys fans. Talk to those people before you talk to me.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. Look, man. There's a phrase that we used to say. Like, do you know what the slogan is for the state of Virginia?
No.
It's Virginia's for lovers. You know what I'm saying? We used to say it's for haters. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just so many haters in Virginia. It's just
hashtag hater is your thing.
So. Hey, man, that's what it is. When you say y'all, please use that loosely because I am not a Washington football team fan. But what I will say is this, man. Like, I grew up and I'm seeing Redskins fans. I'm seeing Cowboys fans. Like, on Monday after they played, you would go to school and everybody either had one or the other jersey on. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why there was so many Cowboys fans there. It was ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm not even going to say half. I can name 10 people off the top of my head that I grew up with, that are friends with, that are both Cowboys and Lakers fans. Because I guess, the front running just goes all the way.
Well, listen, from what I've seen in DMV, y'all a bunch of bandwagons. Like,
look.
Y'all a bunch of bandwagons, dog. You guys get on more bandwagons than the Oregon Trail. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
First off, man, I'm really not gonna allow you to lump me in with these fools, man. And if you hear the way I talk about fans from there, like, bro, I grew up. Now you're asking me why I'm not a Redskins fan. I grew up around Redskins fans and watching them on local TV. Is that not enough of a reason to not be a Redskins fan? I'm asking. Okay, now let me get into my fanhood, okay? My fandom real quick. All right? I'm gonna make it very clear. When I got to the age where I was getting into sports, each team came about from a specific situation. My older sister, she liked the Seminoles. She liked Florida State. I thought that their rivals were the Gators. It's the older sister. I just want to root for the team that she don't like. I thought it was the Gators. If I really knew anything at 5 years old, I would have been a Miami Hurricanes fan. But that's what happens when you're 5. Okay. So then baseball, Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. is who got me into baseball.
Okay.
And as a young black man, you can understand, he not only was he very nice, he was straight out of high school, coming to the league, balling, putting up numbers, smoothest swing in MLB history. But then he also had swag.
Bases.
He also had swag. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the young dude that we felt like we could relate to. He didn't look like every other black baseball player, So that made me a Mariners fan. The Sonics, who was at that time, who was cooler, who was more relatable to a young dude growing up in a rough environment than Shawn Kemp at that time. Like these, you know what I'm saying? He was that young dude with the swag, you know what I'm saying, that was out there dunking on people, pointing at people, all the stuff that they teach you not to do when you're playing basketball, you know? Like, he was out there talking trash, you know? And then you had Gary Payton, you know?
The glove was nice.
You see what I'm saying? The glove, he was out there trash talking. Like, these dudes, I felt like was cats that I seen playing basketball out on the streets. These guys were doing it in the NBA. I loved it. Seattle. That's how I became a Sonics fan, man. You know, and then, because, everybody was a Jordan fan. Everybody was, you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people that love Jordan, but were not Bulls fans. That's just the way it was back then, so I wasn't a Bulls fan. But because I wanted to be Michael Jordan, I was like, if I ever get good enough to go to college, I'm going to North Carolina. It's not even a choice. North Carolina fan, just like that. It's everything is tied to something. Now, as somebody who is a military brat, living in places like San Diego, living in places like Virginia Beach, at these times, there weren't any sports teams there. San Diego, the Chargers wasn't in San Diego yet. The Skins we talk about, that's like 3-4 hours away this way. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly the local team. And then, so just kind of growing up in areas where there weren't any major sports teams nearby, that kind of led to the situation where I was like, yo, if I mess with this player, then I'm a root for that team. And I just never, even after those players left or whatever and retired, I never backed off of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can understand.
The rest of them cats is bandwagoners, though. They
the rest of them, though. They bandwagons. Hey, not me.
I need a 30-year-old man that grew up in the DMV to explain to me why they a Cowboys fan. Because it wasn't like they was living in the 70s when the Cowboys was on everybody's TV.
Well, listen, man. I know a DMV person who was all for the Wizards. All Wizards. And then magically he was like, I'm a Lakers fan. So I don't know.
I might know that guy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Saying? We might have went to the same school at some point. I don't know. I might know this guy.
I don't know.
Look, if you're watching this, you know who you are. We don't condone that. To let you know, we don't condone
magically, that. He's and then his team being Washington football team hater, and then like I heard rumblings of being a Chiefs fan recently, and so
hey, you gotta move to the next Native American team, man. You just gotta, it's close enough. They just so happen to win a championship, so I mean, I guess. Like, yeah.
Hey, whatever.
That's just coincidence. That's just coincidence, man. That's all,
right.
All that is, man.
Like, but it's okay. You inherited bandwagon tendencies. I understand. Look, man, it's okay. Look, I got it.
I don't rock with none of them cats out there sports-wise. Keep it.
I get it, man. You inherited
Put it on the record.
Bandwagon tendencies.
Put it on the record. Cool, I don't mess with none of them cats out there.
Oh, okay.
None of them cats out there sports-wise. None of them teams out there. That's a straight up.
Okay. All right. Sure. Anyway, so moving on. We're going to step into the NBA, man. With the NBA, it's back, baby. We had their first scrimmage games. They out there looking good. Let me ask you, yo, you saw the court, right? You seen the court. How do you feel about it?
To be honest with you, I got a surprise answer for you. I feel the same way I felt about it last week and the week before. It's a nice gesture. It really is. It is. But
no. Not the. I apologize. Not the Black Lives Matter stuff, but like the whole situation in general, like the setup.
I mean, the hoops are there. You got a floor. I mean, we really don't care about what's happening outside of that because the fans ain't there anyway. The lighting seems a little off, but outside of that, like,
Well,
I guess this is I guess I don't really. That's not something that I was really expecting much from. They out there, they're playing. I expected these games to look like pickup games at a big gym.
yeah. Well, here's my
You know.
yeah. Here's my thing about this. It looks like it's on a movie set that they set up to be a basketball court, but it looks like it's on a movie set or something. Which is like it's just a little off-putting to me. And the fact that I didn't think about this until not too long ago, but the fact that they're in Orlando, but why wouldn't you instead of spending all that extra money to do that, like to set up this studio or set or whatever for a basketball court, why wouldn't you just um, excuse me, bus to the Orlando Stadium? Like you're in Orlando already. Why wouldn't you just bus to the Magic Stadium, play on the Magic's court?
I have an answer for that.
Please
Do
enlighten.
you think? Do you think these other owners was gonna let that like Orlando's like, yeah, you could use our courts, but we're gonna need that money. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it would have worked. And then the other teams would have been like, wait a minute, y'all Orlando, y'all paying them for their court? Oh no. They're not about to make extra money off of this when they ain't even got a team that's gonna be there. Like, you know what I mean? Like nah, man, we ain't like. I'm just saying, the other owners was not gonna have that happen to where Orlando was gonna have a situation to where they was getting paid and they wasn't. You know, if they said, hey, they're gonna use the stadium, but sorry, yeah, you'll get paid, but we gotta split the payments to everybody else too. Like we're gonna dish out some money, but everybody's gonna get paid too. Maybe that would have worked, but no, come on, man. There's no way that the other teams would have been cool with it. Of course, Orlando would have been cool with it, but Orlando would have been asking for money. Like that's just a money situation. That's why.
So you think it's a greed thing, man? You think they was being greedy? You think people was like, nah, I don't
It's
want my
not
man
greed.
to get paid over here.
It's
If I
not
ain't getting paid, he
greed.
ain't getting paid. We gonna set up this TV studio.
It's not greed. It's business. You know what I mean? And guess what? Guess what happens when you're a team that makes a little less money than the other teams? You have a little less money for advertisement. You have a little less money for a nice facility. You have a little less, and all of these things are things that could determine whether or not this player comes to play for your team or not. Like money matters even with the salary cap.
Well, okay.
I'm just maybe they should just look at it and be like, it's Orlando. Man, they can have whatever money they want from this, right? Maybe they should feel that way.
Right.
But I can't, like, you can't blame them for looking at it and be like, yo, the bottom line is there's money out there that's being handed out and it's only going to one team. Come on, Mark. You know, you've worked in many arenas, you know, many different jobs. You know, there's always that one person. It's like, even though this doesn't affect me at all, I just have this little feeling that it might not be fair, so I'm bringing the whole thing down. There's always that one guy that just can't sit there and keep his mouth shut.
Yo, every time.
I'm saying.
Anything happens like this, I just think of Belly. I think, and anytime
Yeah.
brings it, I think of Belly.
Oh, like that shit.
Banana.
I don't like that shit.
Like
there's always that one guy. You know what I'm saying? There's no way, man. It probably would have been James Dolan too. He probably would have been the one. He'd be like, nah, man, look, nah, we ain't.
I'm gonna just let it be known. Anything that happens in the NFL that goes wrong, I mean not NFL, NBA that goes wrong, I'm blaming James Dolan from now on. Like James Dolan is, he's basically the reason why all things have been bad in the NBA.
Let me know whenever you're ready to move on to the next topic, because there's an NBA topic that I did want to bring up now that you mentioned it.
All right, but yeah, man. one thing but back to the stadium or the TV set at which the guys are playing on. I feel as though it's a little bland and like it's just the black background and the screens that just keep scrolling and saying NBA and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it would be cool if they had like basically during these games they had a Zoom set up for like whatever team was for the two teams that are playing, and basically you could like so basically you can join in as a fan and cheer for your team while the game is going on. You know what I'm saying? Like so basically on the screens we see the fans like yeah like you know what I'm saying with their like see their banners and then that brings up fan engagement. It brings up like it now you can actually have the fan noise because you'll have fans at home cheering, like kind of like what the NFL did on draft night, where they was like they like tuned into like all the different fans of the Seattle football teams, and people was like, yeah, for their team or whatever like that. You know, like kind of like that. If they did that for during these games, I think that'd be really cool. If like they would just check in and out of different people. I think that'd be dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, that's a good idea, man. But this is the thing. That's just more of indictment on the NBA for how ill prepared they have been for this whole setup.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to put that on. I'm not going to put that on them for not having an idea because not everybody's going to think like me. Not everybody's a genius. I mean, I'm a genius. So like, I mean, not everybody's going to have genius ideas like my genius ideas. You feel me? Like,
here we go,
you can't
man.
put that on them for not having genius ideas.
Here we go. We're talking about, and I'm gonna shut that down right now because we're talking about a league that literally, if you get the NBA pass, you can watch your team's home games, and you can pick a seat from the stands that you want your viewpoint to be from. This is the same league that has that already in place, and it's been in place for like almost 10 years. You telling me they can't figure out how to add a fan element to this? Come on, man.
Hey,
they out here playing, bro. They out here playing.
Listen.
they out here playing, man. Mm-hmm.
Listen, I think you're just underestimating my genius. I'm thinking in 3-dimensional chess, and they're playing checkers. What can I say, dog?
Stop it, man. Stop. You know what, man? I don't even know if I should even dignify that shit with a response or even continue this shit, man. Look, if you think you're a genius, that's great. You know what? Maybe you should be working for the NBA. Why don't you put in an application or something?
Hey, man. I'm too busy doing this, man. Too busy doing this.
Oh, okay. You know what? Thank you for blessing this show with your presence, man.
And
your genius and your creativity. I appreciate it, man.
See my love? All right.
No, just
I got
like
you, beloved.
Yo, if that wasn't like the most underhanded beloved I've ever gotten in my life, yo, but that's cool though. You know, that's cool.
Hey, but man, first couple of games been played on the scrimmage floor, and I gotta be honest, man, these players look great, man. These players look like I mean, obviously, the idea that they would look like amateurs on the court was laughable to begin with. I mean, these are professional NBA players, but like people are like, oh, they're locked in the house, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. Like last time I checked, these guys got millions of dollars, man. If they don't find a gym that they can pay for, and like, come on, man, like, no, I don't believe all that. I didn't believe all that then. But like, these players look good, man.
You talk about let me just say something real quick, man. They at home. I'm going to assume that every NBA player has a basketball hoop or a basketball court at their house somewhere.
They
whether
better have
it's
a
indoor.
Yeah.
Whether it's indoor or outdoors. Yo, man, like, how many times have you heard stories of people back in the day running scrimmages? I'm saying back in the day, like it was that long ago. But people running scrimmages at Jordan's house, or people running scrimmages at this person's house or that person's house, man. Like, come on, man. You think, like, as somebody that played a lot of basketball when I was younger, like, dog, I used to walk up and down the street with my basketball. I used to take this shit everywhere and be like, yo, like, hey, man, we just coming over there to play video games. Cool. I get my basketball, I dribble around. You know what I mean? Like, yo, these cats are basketball fiends. They have a court at home. That's all they've been doing. They've been waiting to get back because they got told they're coming back. There's no way that I would have believed for a second that dudes would have been super rusty.
Yeah, man. I don't know. But apparently that was the case because one Markelle Fultz it was not in basketball shape and was not joining his current team, the Orlando Magic, in the bubble right away or for their scrimmage games because the word is that he just wasn't ready. And hey, man, a lot has been.
You know why I'm making my faces, but yeah, go ahead, man.
A lot has been attributed.
Topic.
A lot has been attributed to that guy, man. I don't know what's going on, but he was a first overall pick, like the number one overall pick, and he's probably at present the biggest bust since Jamarcus Russell. So I do not understand what's going on with them. Why is there an issue? But
I honestly think it's just a situation. I don't even think it's an unfamiliar situation, man. I think him and Eli Apple have the same problem. Their moms is a little bit off their rocker. They're a little bit too involved in their kids' adult lives and too involved in their kids' career decisions and all that stuff, man. This is like they are a picture of what goes wrong when you're too involved in your kid's life. Like maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm trying to simplify it too much, but that's just my take on the whole Markelle Fultz thing. Is I just see it as another Eli Apple situation.
So you blaming his mom?
Yes, to be very clear, yes. It's partially his mom, but then he's also a grown-ass man. You know what I'm saying? You got to tell mom.
Black mothers,
sometimes
black women are so unprotected in this country, fam. And you just another individual piling on.
Look, man, guess what? Sometimes you got to stand up, look into the crowd over there in Cleveland, and tell your mom, sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? You seen LeBron do it. Told her to sit her ass down. They still love each other. They still fine. I'm sure he had to pay for that comment when he got home. You know what I'm saying? After the game, but
yo, I will cash app you $20 right now if you call your mother, tell her sit her ass down, zero context.
First off, I don't know what I did to you that makes you feel like you want me to leave this earth. Okay, whatever I did to you, Mark, I apologize. But that's a no-go, man. She lives in Oklahoma. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm in Nevada. She's close enough to catch a flight really quickly. You know what I'm saying? She's close enough to drive here as well. She knows my address. No, that's a no-go, man. I won't be doing that. But I will say this. In context, if I ever felt like I needed to say that, one of two things have to happen. Either I got to say it, embrace myself for what happens afterwards, or I got to say, Ma, you're not allowed. You know what? You're just not going to be over at the house no more. You're not coming to the scrimmages no more. You're not coming to the games no more. You know what? You're no longer going to be making decisions in my life. Like, that's just what it is. Okay, you don't want to get your head knocked off. That's cool. Nobody wants to get their head knocked off by their moms. But I'm sure there's a respectful way that Markelle Fultz could tell his moms, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe this time, you know, I can make the decision for my basketball career. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe this time.
You know what I'm saying? like Red talking to Debo. I mean, because I thought that I could this time I'd take the butt.
Just
You
like
know
it's
what I'm saying?
both of
Like
ours,
I'm
except
just
for we're going
saying,
to keep it
man.
at my house.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to. I mean, I imagine he would be stuttering like that. So. But yeah, I don't know, man. But
Okay.
you gotta be a man. Look at Lonzo, man. Lonzo stepped up to LeVar. You know what I'm saying? Why can't Mark Truffle step up to his mom?
Okay.
Tell her to back off.
Hey, man. LeVar is all talk, and we've been through that. So
Hey,
that
man.
wasn't hard.
I did see him post up Marcellus Wiley and dunk on him, I did see that.
Okay, so what? Who's Marcellus Wiley?
so what?
Who's Marcellus
So
Wiley? So
what?
what?
I guess yes, valid point.
All right. So, but with that being said, the players that are actually in the bubble and are actually playing, they're looking great. In fact, one Ben Simmons took not one, but two threes, hitting one of them. Oh, I mean, and he looked good doing it, man. So finally, he's making good on the promise to start shooting from the outside a little bit more. I mean, they were already running away with the game against Memphis up until like the late third or fourth quarter, but I mean, they were playing with a 29-point lead, so it was just pretty much like they were messing around for the rest of it, and it's a scrimmage game. But
Yeah.
So with that in context, I would have liked to see Ben shoot a little bit more because it's not
He
like
ain't got nothing to lose.
like it was y'all was playing with a massive lead, but the fact that he shot it all was great. Unfortunately, though, I still have no idea what this starting five is really going to look like. Joel Embiid didn't play much. I don't know, man. Like,
look, man. I'm gonna say this. I'm upset, man. I'm upset. We just gave your boy, Double B. I'm just calling him Double B. You know what I'm saying, Brett Brown. Gave your boy some credit for talking about moving them and pushing them to power forward. And then what happens? This nonsense happens, Mark. You mean to tell me that you sit there and play point guard for what, 4 years? Let's just say 4 years. 4 years he's played point guard. You know what I mean? And this dude decides to shoot 2 3-pointers. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but he shoots like 2 3-pointers over that time. Mm-hmm. They move him to power forward, and he all of a sudden he wants to be a stretch four. Now he want to shoot. It would be way more beneficial if he was taking these shots at point guard. That's the whole reason why they're moving you to power forward is because you won't shoot. Now you want to shoot. No, okay, maybe I'm a little bit more upset about this than I should be.
Well, I've just come to expect less from the Sixers in general, but he should have been moved to 4 in year 2. He should have been moved to 4 in year 2. It's not like the only difference between even from the 4 spot, he can run the offense.
Yes.
LeBron has shown that I don't have to be the point guard to run the offense from any position. I can run the offense from power.
Man, I've seen Jokic run the offense. It doesn't matter at this point in basketball,
right?
Especially when you're surrounded by shooters.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
That is the true definition of positionless basketball. When it comes to role assignments, not necessarily but he should have always been at power forward. He's 6'10". What are you doing?
Well, he played power forward in college.
Yeah, the mismatch that you think you're getting at point. You saw in year 1, you're not getting that mismatch because all they're doing is all they're doing is switching on him and forcing him to pass because he wouldn't shoot. So you're not getting that mismatch that you thought you would get when he was at point. But at least at power forward, the mismatch that you're getting is that he he is fast. He's a lot faster
It's
than
not even
90%
close.
than
Yeah.
90% of the power forwards in the league. Like so,
I'll venture to say 100%, but yes,
I was
he's
just
that
shooting
fast.
people bail. Like
Okay, fine. Yeah, we go with that. Yeah.
I was just shooting people bail. But he is a lot faster than just about every other power forward in the league. So with him at 4, you're getting that benefit of his agility, his speed, his natural athleticism. That is what you're taking advantage of with him at 4 versus him at point trying to take advantage of his size and strength against point guards where he's playing on the outside. That really doesn't play as much as a factor where but but at the 4, like his speed, his agility, his way to move around, what power forward is keeping up with that? You could switch a point or a shooting guard on him, but he's just going to body them and do whatever he needs to do. I think the potential is greater for him to be at forward than anything else. And so what? He's not bringing the ball up court. That's even better because now he can be set for a fast break, or now he can be set for somewhere else. And when you get into the half court offense, you put the ball in his hands, and you know he knows how to properly distribute it to every other player on the court. Like this seemed like a move that should have been done a long time ago, but it is what it is. We are where we are now. I still don't think the Sixers are going to do absolutely god all, but hey,
hey
I
man,
do like the move.
Hey man,
they're playing well.
This is how dire the situation is. I don't even know if this was in a Facebook group or somewhere along my friends list, but I saw the post. I saw a picture, or it was still photos, but then also a link to the video of him shooting those threes.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a comment under there that said, "I don't care if he's farting bubbles while he's doing it. I just want him to keep on shooting." Okay. The man shot. He took 2 3-pointers and made one, and that's the response from the Sixers fans. Like, man, all I will say is this: I've always had a lot of respect for your for the way that you handle being a fan. I'm gonna tell you this now: I have a lot more respect for you now after seeing some of these Philadelphia 76ers fans speak about Ben Simmons taking these 2 3-pointers, man. Dog, I was like, I'm expecting to watch this video and see this man knock down like 3 3-pointers, man. That's what I was expecting. And then I was like, so he took 2 and he made one? And this is what you guys are sharing? Like, I'm talking about, they acted like the Sixers was on their way to a championship. I'm just like, what's going on? Man, let me tell you, they are out there eating the crumbs that's falling off the table, Mark. I am glad that you have renounced your fanhood from the 76ers for the time being.
Oh, no.
No? Is this permanent, Mark? It's been a while. I'm not gonna
a very long time.
It's been a couple of years. Years.
It's been since Andrew Bynum. What are we talking about? Like,
are you really gonna sit here and tell me you will never be a true 76ers fan for the rest of your life? Is that what you're saying, man?
Well, when they get new ownership, maybe. But probably like another 10 years from now?
So maybe I should have been very clear when I said for the time being. It wasn't like he just decided this yesterday and it's just like, hey, But once again, I applaud you because if not, I would hate to see you looking like these cats. Cheering and throwing a house party every time Ben Simmons.
Well, I mean, you already see the type of Eagles fan that I am. Like, I will talk about their flaws in a heartbeat. I will identify their flaws and I will talk about them and scream them from the top of my lungs in a minute. Like, so my enjoyment of anything always recognizes the flaws within it. Like, I do not agree with the idea in order to be a fan, you have to love everything about something. I hate it when people talk about like when they talk like basically the stuff that you see about LeBron James. Like just because you're a LeBron James fan doesn't mean that this dude could step in the ring and be a heavyweight champion. Like what the hell are we talking about?
Man.
Like it's the most nonsensical thing in the world. Like, yo, like can we step into reality? I'm always living in reality of what my team is. Like
Facts. Yeah.
I can see what they do well, and I can see what they don't do well. Matter
Man.
of
Well,
fact,
let's just
you know what that's called? It's called the eye test. And I
Hey, you gotta trust what your eyes are telling you.
exactly,
Your eyes are telling you that Andrew Bynum is hurt and he's also a goon.
exactly,
Don't put him on my team. You know,
exactly. Like he has a
like,
busted knee, and he's a terrible human being. And
yeah, like nah,
and
man.
he was, and maybe he was only that good because he was with Kobe Bryant, possibly. Do we
Yeah.
have a Kobe Bryant? Don't put him on my team.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, my eyes could tell me that dude was not going to be worth the money. Man, first off, if you look at the way I hate to bring this back up because I know you hate this. You know, the way that he fouled, said JJ, the way that he fouled him and the way that he just nonchalant, he just kind of took his jersey off. Like, first off, man, why are you taking your jersey off like you did something, man? But if you can really look into his face, Mark, you can see that that's a man that has no motivation to be a better basketball player.
Or a human being or a person.
Yeah, like when somebody's getting waxed like that, you know what I'm saying? If you're a professional athlete, this is usually the times where you see guys double down. Whether it's false confidence or the dude that wants to go up, slap the ground, like I'm about to lock up Dame Lillard, and then they get cooked. Like, well, I don't care. Like, I'd rather you do that than to just be like, yo, JJ Barea is cooking me. Now I'm gonna clothesline him.
Right.
and then because I don't want to play the game anymore, I'm just gonna quit and walk out into the locker room with my shirt off. Like that man, I could tell you if you just watch that clip, you could be like, look, man, the man has no motivation to be a better basketball player, or like you said, or even a better human being. Like, he didn't even feel bad. He walked away. Like, you know how in the movies, they
right.
the hero blows some shit up, the fire, the explosives going on in the background, they just turn it back before it even goes off, they walk off. That man clotheslined them and then started taking his jersey off before they even gave him the tech, man. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. That's
yeah,
just
even when old buddy swept the leg on Danielson, he got down on the mat and kept saying, "I'm sorry," because his sensei made him do it.
Hey, man, hey, I'm just saying, like the last time I saw that level of a lack of compassion was Robert Ory slinging Steve Nash into the announcer's table. I'm saying slinging. It was actually more violent than that. That man hip checked him. It was straight out of a playbook of hockey, man. And when he did it, he just kind of stepped over him and then walked off like he didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like,
and Robert Ory, yet another player that I never want anything to do with. But somehow I have a feeling that if the Sixers had a chance, they'd be like, "Yeah, give me Robert Ory." Like,
yeah, all right.
I can't stand that team, man. Like this is a conversation for another day because I could talk about the draft picks. I could talk about how they did my man Mikal Bridges. Like we can really get into it, but I'm not going to get into it.
We good.
But nah, man, but I just want to wrap this player thing up. Like, do you know, Shawn? Like, this is the thing that I said I wanted to talk to you about, and I asked you to remind me of. But do you know that we may very well see the best basketball we have ever seen from any player ever? Do you want to know why? Do you have any idea why?
Please explain to me why.
Well,
Please.
here's the reason. Inside this bubble, you you can do a lot of things. You can get a lot of things. The last time I checked, one thing that's not inside this bubble is the bunny ranch.
Stop, man. Stop it, man.
So, and you know what they say. When fighters are training for a fight, when players are playing in their NFL season, a lot of the players swear by shutting it down. No sex, none of that. They swear by it. We may very well see the best we will ever see out of these players because these players, they have no access to the Instagram.
Okay, and this is, I'll try to say this as respectfully as possible. So you mean to tell me there's not going to be any groupies in there, right? So, I mean, obviously, they got the thing on lockdown like Alcatraz, right? That's cool. But Mark,
my man couldn't get Postmates.
Let's keep it a buck. Like, me and you both, we both been to basic training, for the Air Force. I talk about under surveillance, heavy surveillance. People were still finding a way to do things. People were still finding a way to eat food in the bays where we weren't even allowed to take food from the chow hall. We weren't even allowed to have it on us. We was being inspected all the time. Look, man, you're right. We probably will see the best basketball. But there's always going to be somebody. You know what I'm saying? As long as there's a look, man, we got Markel Fultz already having problems. I'm not saying any reasons. You got J.R. Henny Smith. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, I don't know, but if there's a will, there's a way. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But yes, I guess I agree with you, man. That hopefully people are focused. You know what I'm saying? As long as they ain't going to these thrown parties that they're having in the bubble, I guess, Well, hopefully.
Hey, somebody, we know one player that showed up. He was ready to
Hey, dog. Hey, that man showed up with his shirt off, you know what I'm saying, with the whistles and shit like Terry Crews and White Chicks, maybe that's the way I imagined it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I imagine if Dwight Howard shows up to party, that fool ready to party. But
yeah. I'm pretty sure he breaks the glow sticks wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'm sure he had them on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so before we leave the NBA, we brought up James Dolan and how sorry of an owner he is. They hired Thibodeau. They just signed Thibodeau to a 5-year deal. Okay, Mike Thibodeau is going to be the head coach for the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'll say, I'll give my opinion. I'll let you give yours. But I saw somebody ask the question, "Do you think this is a good move?" And I said, do you think it's a good move? Do you think it's going to make a difference, or are they just the Knicks and the Knicks are going to do what they do? I personally said, if there's ever been a coach that was going to get the most out of a ragtag young group of throwaway players in the NBA, if there's ever going to be a coach that's going to get the most out of them, it's going to be Mike Thibodeau. Okay, he's proven it in Chicago. He's proven it in Minnesota. I don't like. Will they improve? I will be shocked if they do not improve. Will there be dissension? Yes. You know what happens when he shows up. The weak players get weeded out immediately. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be complaints. It's going to be the same thing, But I guarantee you, there's going to be some. He's going to mold some diamonds out of coal out there. You're going to see who. The cream is going to rise to the top. I don't know how many players they got that are capable, but I will say this: will they make their playoffs? No, they still the Knicks. they will not make the playoffs. But Thibodeau being on the Knicks, that seems to be like somebody actually said, okay, we just are going to accept the fact that we can't get any stars. Who can we get to coach this team? And Thibodeau was the best option, and they took him. Maybe I'm hoping for Knicks fans that's what the case was. Maybe they just gave up on trying to get big name players off of being the Knicks, and that's it. Because they don't they really try to get players there. They just say, hey, we're the Knicks, come sign with us. So
yeah,
I'm curious. I actually am gonna watch some Knicks games.
I will not
be the coach, man.
I will not be. They're still the Knicks.
Hey, man, that's Tibbs, man. Anything Tibbs do, I'm watching.
I will not be. They're still the Knicks. It doesn't interest me. Nothing about them interests me. But with that said, yeah. That's pretty much all I have about. Oh, you know what? I want to talk about this very quickly. So they introduced the bubble barber shop. How do you think that works? And like, how does one become the barber of the bubble? Do you think they hired like what's the John in the mall? The haircut John in the mall?
Oh nah, not like the Supercuts joint.
Yeah,
like,
Supercuts. Like
you think
you think they got a contract with Supercuts, or like how does that work? Or did they actually get like the type of barbers that these players want? And,
hey, I'll be honest with you, man. See, this is another money opportunity here, Mark. You know what I'm saying? You're not the only genius here, man. Imagine a cutoff. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, we need barbers for the dome, for the bubble. Everybody's, because you know what probably happened, Mark. Everybody's trying to give out their IGs. They got the videos posted. They're sending in their video resumes on IG, check me out. Hey, man, I cut Dwight Howard's hair or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their barbers, right? So I'm sure they were jockeying for position. I would assume in my mind, the way my mind works, I'm like, yo, they probably sat him down, had him in there, they blindfolded him, took him in the minivan, took him down to the bubble. He was like, yo, where we going? Hey, shut up, man. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. They basically kidnap him. They take him to the bubble. They bring him into a dark room. The lights is off. They take the blindfolds off, and then, turn the lights on. They sitting in front of a chair, and they got dudes lined up, and they're just like, all right, you guys got 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a high pressure situation, you know what I'm saying? To get them to cut hit. Okay, so maybe that's probably not how they did it. But Mark, you mean to tell me you wouldn't watch a TV show of a elimination style? Who gets to be the barber?
Who gets to cut
in the bubble? You know what I'm saying? Battle for the bubble. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch that. I will watch that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just really curious. Like, is it one guy with his basically with his squad? Because imagine, like, I'm just speaking from the black from the black player perspective of their hair needs, which I haven't had for a long time, but with their hair needs, you need the guy that cuts. You need the person that's going to twist up their stuff, like, because not all players. Yeah. Some players got the dreads thing going over.
Yeah, you go to the barber shop, they got like 5 dudes cutting hair, and you got the one chick in the back. You know what I'm saying? You know what the deal is.
Yeah, you need the shampoo.
You gonna retwist this shit. Yeah.
So I'm curious.
I don't know.
I'm just curious as to how that contract worked out. I mean, that's just something that was just running around in my mind, like what's going on there. So
if they have a trials, man, I'm looking for my boy Isaac from Barbershop. You know what I'm saying? People doing little, tricks, getting a little eye in the back. You know what I'm saying? That's my trademark. I don't know, man. I just assumed that it was gonna be heavy competition. Maybe you have some type of face off or showdown. Like they really could have did this right, man. NBA, y'all dropping the ball out here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all leaving money on the table.
Hey, man, I don't know, man. But moving on, we're going to go into football. and we're going to talk about your hater squad. The team that you deny. Like,
They ain't got nothing to do with me. But
and look at you. Look at you.
Hey, not a fan of the
You going to
Washington
deny him
football
three
team.
times like Peter, huh? You going to deny him three times like Peter?
Hey, look, deny him 3 times like Peter. I tell you what I won't do. I won't say their name 3 times in the mirror with the lights off. I don't want none of them suckers showing up to my house, yo. If Dan Snyder appears in my bedroom or my bathroom, we fighting, yo, off GP. But anyway.
Listen, the Washington football team.
Yeah.
This is the funniest thing in the world. The Washington football team for this season will be going by the name of the Washington football team because Dan Snyder, like what's not being talked about is the arrogance of Dan Snyder in this. Dan Snyder, when he said, "Over my dead body, I will not change this football team's name," he meant that. Like, he meant that with his heart and soul. Because you would have thought all those years ago when they did this, when this originally came up, he would have been like, "I'm not changing it. But just in case, let me have some names in the tuck ready to go." But nah, he said, "I'm not changing it." Never gave it a second thought ever again. And come to today, all the names that they could possibly or want to change their team name to are already trademarked. And taken by someone else. Kind of interesting, right?
Interesting, man. That boy, man, let me tell you something, man. Dan Snyder, like you said, I think it says a lot about his level of arrogance. This came up, I want to say, because this is when all the Standing Rock stuff happened in North Dakota. Yeah, so we're talking 2017. Like, so you had 3 years.
The original time when it came up. Oh no, that was like quite a few years ago.
Well, no, I'm talking about when the pressure was on, when the dude started running around finding the reservations that he could bribe to pay money, donate money to, and then have them come out and say, yeah, we don't got a problem with the name.
I think that was like 2013 or 14.
Maybe it's further back. Maybe it is, but yeah, like, I mean, he's had plenty of time, ample time. He clearly, like, he could see the hot water, the temperature of the water gradually rising. And as he's sitting in that pot, he's just like, won't do it, can't do it. You know what I mean? Like clearly, it's been escalating to this point. And sure enough, nothing was prepared to change the name. Now you have a guy out there that literally said from the beginning, "I'm just going to start trademarking any name that has been thrown out there for a name change. Any name that was been mentioned, he is trademarked." And that's what he did. Now, once that happened, now, come on, man. Daniel Snyder, you have money, right? It was your own negligence that led to this situation. Your own arrogance that led to the situation. Now that somebody has a trademark for one of the names that you want to switch the team to, now it's time to pay for that arrogance. That's just bottom line. You know what I'm saying? This is what arrogance gets you. Instead, what does he do, Mark? Doubles down on the arrogance. We're going by Washington football team. It seems insane to me, man. Whoever that dude is all these trademarks, he probably wants a few mil. Give him a few mil. Let him be on his way.
According to CBS Sports, the person that currently has all the trademarks, he said he was literally just brought them up so that the Washington football team would not be put in a situation to where they have to pay a bunch of money for
somebody else. So it's a fan of the team.
So basically what what they're saying is that he said that he tried to reach out to the NFL and to the Washington football team about like what team names they could possibly want and what he would have to do to just give it to him. He does not seek any sort of restitution or anything like that for
Okay.
the team names. He just wanted to take the names so that no one else could be holding the team names hostage. Um, like I said, this is according to him. He could be saying one thing in the public, doing another thing behind closed doors.
I was going to say, because if he's telling the truth, then the level of arrogance on the Daniel Snyder's part is even worse, because that means this dude already went out and did all the work for you, and you still not changing the name. That's insane. I'm going to assume, I'm not going to assume actually. I'm going to hope that this guy is lying and he's trying to hit these dudes and he's trying to hit Dan Snyder in the pockets. I'm going to hope that, because I would really hate to believe that Dan Snyder, even at the point of no return, is still saying,
Well,
nah.
given everything it's funny that you say that, because given everything that has come out recently about the Washington football team, this seems par for the course to me. They are they clearly don't give a crap about
Man,
who they offend, and now it's come out that they have been using their positions of power in ways of basically pimping out their cheerleaders. So
this is just to comment on that. There was a TV show that existed back in the day. It was a reality TV show showing the Dallas cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
CMT,
CMT,
the country music
So
channel.
you know what I'm talking about. So they had a few seasons of that, and I remember there was an article that came out shortly after the first season where some of the girls came out and spoke about it, and I guess basically what they were saying was the Cowboys was the only team, mind you, the only team in the NFL that paid the girls what they thought they should be paid
appropriately.
Appropriately paid them. They're the only ones that treated them as if they were worth something, i.e., other teams, they were saying stuff like other teams wouldn't even put them up in a good hotel in the city, you know what I'm saying, like for the night or whatever. Like they would, there's just because some of these cheerleaders don't live near the teams,
Right.
It's a weekend job, it's a 1 day a week job. So like they would go put them in like the DoubleTree down the road, instead of putting them in a decent hotel. They end up staying the night in bad parts of town and all that stuff. But they were saying there was a lot of stuff that came out at that time, of course, that nobody cared about. But they were basically saying that the low pay, the mistreatment, the disposableness that they, the way they treat them like they're disposable, a problem across the league. So what I'm saying about this is, I wasn't shocked when this news came out. I was a little bit kind of disgusted, but I wasn't shocked. But I will say this. I know the other owners are probably telling them to get that thing under control, because they do not want them digging in other places.
Well, you know what's funny? Because I agree with you there, because I find it interesting that the NFL owners are allowing what Daniel Snyder is doing. Daniel Snyder, he himself, the owner of the team that's being investigated, hired the lawyer that is investigating these claims and the things of that the Washington Post has put out. Like, do we not see a conflict of interest here?
Yeah, it's kind of a problem.
Like, how is it that, like, so even if the trail does lead to Daniel Snyder, guess who's never going to find out, because the very person that paid for it for the lawyer that's going to doing the investigation is also the person that's being investigated. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man. Like, this.
Yeah. He's
Like, this is
essentially by proxy investigating himself.
right. And so do I expect anything to come out? He'd be like, for him to be like, well, I found something against me. And like in
Yeah.
this year I did this. Like, no, I do not. I don't expect that at all. But like some of the salacious things that we heard prior to the actual post coming out, it
Mhm.
like we heard that, oh, this has Jay Gruden in it, this has Dan Snyder, and Dan Snyder may have to sell the team, blah blah blah. And much to my chagrin, because I was really hoping that it would have those things in it, it doesn't. It doesn't really say nothing about Jay Gruden. Didn't say nothing about Dan Snyder. But from what I've seen, or not, just from my impression of these individuals, I wouldn't be surprised if they were involved in these type of things, because I just it is what it is, man. I don't want to talk down on somebody too much that I don't know personally, or that things that I can't prove. But I don't like that guy, Jay Gruden. So,
I mean, you have reasons. You have enough reasons. You don't need to add,
right.
reasons that are unproven.
Yes,
yeah,
unsubstantiated things at all.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't like him. I don't like Daniel Snyder. Um, but we'll see what happens from here.
Yep.
Going forward, further into what's going on in the NFL, we are exactly 3 days away from the start of training camp. 7/28, correct?
Yeah.
And the money issue is still not finalized. Like, players are going to be reporting to camp with no idea how the opt-out is going to work, what happens if they don't complete a season, and what's going on with the money, because so far it seems like the owners are talking about how they're going to be losing revenue um, because of coronavirus, the lack of fans, and all this nonsense. And the reason why I say it's nonsense is because unless you're willing to show the books, put the books on a table and let everybody see them to say, this is how we're losing money, I don't believe you're losing money. Like, do you believe they're losing money, Shawn?
Look, man.
Like, I just need
I have a question. How much money could you possibly be losing for preseason games?
No,
you know what? But I'm not even going to talk about that. I'll just you talk about just straight up all together. Are they losing money? They are.
They are.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
They are. The individual teams are probably losing. They're definitely losing profits. They're losing profits. That there's going to be a certain amount of money that comes from the stadium and the stadium attendance that they're going to be missing out on.
But
you know what they're not going to. You know what they're not.
I'm glad you said that, because that's not losing money. I'm glad you said that. You had an expected profit because of TV ad revenue and also in-game revenue, like in-stadium revenue from ticket sales, vendor sales, all these different things. You had an expected revenue stream coming in. Now, with that, so you're not going to have the fans there. You're not going to have the vending there. So therefore, you're not making profits off those things. But you're not losing money. Losing money suggests that somehow these teams are going to end in a negative. Like somehow it won't be a profit margin at all. The TV revenue that these teams make for whoever to show their games like you still have your direct TV contract. You still you still have your contract with the local channels like Fox, ABC, whoever. Like so I don't like so you still are making money. You're just not making as much money. And
Jerseys are still gonna be sold. People still
exactly.
buying those. You know,
Exactly. And the fact that these owners are going to sit here and try to be like, well, we're losing money. No, you're not losing money. You're just not making as much money. And that,
mm-hmm.
and like, so the fact that you're trying to put the onus on the players to take less money because you're not making as much money is insane. You're still going to be, the NFL is by
Hey,
far the number one sport in America. You're going to be making money hand over fist.
but this, but this is what I'll tell. This is another thing that I even bring into the fold when you're talking about money in revenue. One of the a big chunk of stadium expenses is upkeep. A lot of it is in paying employees, the people that work there. Nobody's there. You know what I mean? They're not going to have a bunch. There's not even a need to have all that. So if you're going to sit here and talk about how much money you're quote unquote losing, then let's talk about how much money y'all saving from being like from planning out these games to the point where I know they haven't said officially, but you know, whether it be very limited fans or no fans, you are saving on maintenance. You are saving on the amount of employees that you need to be present for these games. You're saving on all of that. Like let's talk about it. Let's not just say, oh, we losing money because the fan like we're not having the show out for the games. Let's talk about how you don't have these employees to pay.
Right.
like let's talk about everything that's
Right.
involved. Like you
Right.
said, give me a spreadsheet. Show me a spreadsheet and let's
Right.
talk
You got to
about
show the books because you are exactly right. If you don't like, how much money are you losing because you're not getting that revenue from people showing up to the stadium. Well, if people not showing up to the stadium, guess what guess what you're not paying for. You're right. You're not paying for the employees to be in the building. And in fact, even if you were paying for the employees to be in the building, I'll guarantee you the money that you make versus the
it.
money
Yeah.
that you're shelling out to pay isn't one for one. So like
Yeah.
don't lie to me on that front. And then but one thing you're not like so if you were to be like, well, it's not our faculty's fault that we have the coronavirus, and if you were to do something that was benevolent, is that right?
Yeah, benevolent.
Yeah, benevolent of to
But
say bene-
benevolent.
benevolent. Thank you. If you was to do something that was benevolent to say, hey, we're going to pay everyone anyway. We're going to pay our stadium employees anyway. You're still not losing money on that front. You're not
Hey,
because you don't have to resupply anything. You like so there's so much things that
look, all I know is that this is another thing. The companies out there, the big companies out there that have decided they're going to continue to pay their employees during all this stuff, they were very loud and proud about it. I'm just gonna say I didn't hear any NFL teams come out and say that they still going to pay the employees.
right.
You know, the lower level, you know, the janitors and all that. I haven't heard any of those statements come out yet. So,
Not at
I
all.
mean,
But I'm gonna shoot them bail and say maybe the
go ahead.
only reason why we haven't heard that yet is because we don't know whether or not there will actually be fans in the stands. Because that is something that they are still using on a case by case
Yeah.
basis, and we probably won't know that information till the end of August.
But I will say this: there's a piece of information that we'll never know whether or not they're gonna be paying these employees. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Even if they wasn't, they're not gonna come out and be like, "Well, we're not paying them." Like, like you just, like you just never, you just never gonna hear about it, man. It's just, yeah. So,
I don't know. We'll probably hear about it in some shape or fashion
man, them
because
fools they probably made the janitor sign a non-disclosure, man. They probably out here. Okay, maybe that's just taking shots for no reason. I don't know.
but
But
yeah,
yeah,
man. I don't know, man. It's going very interesting where we're getting in the sports realm with things. Because it would be a nice gesture by these teams if in fact they don't have any fans in the stands
Hmm.
and they still play all the stadium employees. That it'd be a very nice gesture, and a good
I'm not
short fade.
expecting it.
But I'm not expecting it either because that's just not what, like, these people didn't get to be billionaires by being by being I guess the
Well,
greatest people in the world and handing out their
I,
money.
I'm not even going to say it. I'll take it a step further. None of these people became NFL owners without investors. Hey, no, none of these cats got here without investors. All of these
Oh,
cats have
nope,
investors.
nope,
Some
nope, nope.
investors want
Not gonna
what?
let you do that.
Who?
Jerry Bones Jones. He Jerry Jones does a lot on his own with his dollar, with his dime. That's why he can
That
call that.
okay. He is the exception. He is the exception. But he also, like you say, he does a lot. That man said, I'm gonna pay for this 200-foot jumbotron screen in there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not only will he spend his own money, but he ain't tight with his wallet.
Yeah.
Well, I will give Jerry Jones credit, but the rest of these guys, they got investors, they got people they got to answer to. But that's also the reason why Jerry Jones could just say not stupid things. I'm not gonna say stupid. He could say things like, "Yo, my players, they ain't kneeling during the national anthem. Hey, he ain't got nobody else to chime in over there. It's just him."
But guess what's gonna? But I bet you money he won't dare utter those words out of his mouth this year. I bet that.
Did
I
you,
bet that.
man? I gotta double check these sources, man. I saw an
I
article
bet
about.
that. I
Hey,
bet that.
I'm not
I
gonna
bet
dispute
that
that. I'm not
I
going.
bet you he ain't that bold. I
You
bet
know what I think he'll do? He'll say that shit to them behind closed doors. Like,
that. No,
look, you
no, he
little
won't.
bastards.
No,
Look,
he
you
won't.
little bastards.
No, he won't.
I
No, he
better
won't.
not go out there and do it. You better not
No,
go
he
out there
won't.
and embarrass me. Hey,
No,
man.
he
But
won't.
but I gotta check this article because there was some article. I don't know how reputable it was, but it was saying that John Elway came out and said that his players ain't nobody kneeling out there during the
I,
national anthem.
I,
I don't know if that's reputable. I I can see him. I'm sure that's how he feels. I just can't see him saying that, so I don't know. Like, I don't know how reputable that is. I'd be honest with you. I'll be surprised if any owners come out this year and say it.
yeah, like
Yeah,
nobody,
well, I don't know. The Texas owner, that dude, wild. He might do it. He might do
nobody.
it. he,
He he's
he
wild.
might do it, Mark. He
Yo,
might do it, Mark.
he's wild simply for having Bill O'Brien still in the building. Like,
Hey, man. Hey,
like so.
old buddy is wild. That owner might just do it. He might do it, but
Yeah, man. I don't know. Um, but I think we've covered. Oh no, nope. In other NFL news, Jamal Adams finally gets his wish. He is
mm-hmm.
now no longer a member of the New York Jets. He is now a member of the Seattle Seahawks. And he is only 24 years old. The Seattle Seahawks has given up a king's ransom for Jamal Adams. So, and for this to be a team that I'm still not sure what's going on with their receiver core, and we still don't have any definite, I guess, any definitive answers at running back, at least not that has been seen.
Yeah.
Is this advised for this team? I mean, they given up a first round pick for this, a first round pick, and a third round pick for the this coming up draft, and a first round pick for 2022. Is
I'll
this
say this. This move looks worse. Like I'm not gonna say worse. Brett Brown looks better in the scenario of him moving Ben Simmons to the 4 this late. That looks way better than this situation. You had your chance to have your defense. You had them. You let them walk. Now you want to overpay for a dude to bring in when
Get that back.
Now because of your lack of attention or caring about what happened to the defense, you went and paid a bunch of people some people a lot of money, and your offense went to crap. Okay, so now you have an offense that has a lot of needs everywhere except for quarterback. And now, while your offense is in need, it's like you had an epiphany, and it's like, you know what would be nice, man? It's if we had a defense, man. You know what wins championships? Defenses. Now you want to go get Jamal Adams. So, I mean, it's not even too little too late, Mark. This is just a confusing move for me. It's a confusing move because the defense showed up last year. The defense showed up, man. And they have a young defense. They have young players on their defense, man. They already have a bunch of young players. I mean, I just don't understand how shifting so many resources to get this guy. I know they haven't talked contract yet, but he was very clear on how he felt like he should be paid. So that you go in and get him lets me know that not only are you willing to ship out these 2 first-rounders and a 3rd rounder, but you're also willing to pay him the amount that he wants. Now, it's a situation to where it's gonna have another effect to where they're gonna pay this man all this money. They're not gonna have enough money to get receivers still. They're not gonna have enough money to repair the offensive line, and they're going to be strapped. So it went from signing the quarterback to too much money to where you can't have a defense to now they're going to sign him to so much money that they're not going to have enough money to fix the rest of the offense. It's like the hustling backwards. They keep overreacting. They keep overreacting late.
Well, while I do agree with you with just about every point you made, I would be remiss to not play devil's advocate here a little bit by saying maybe, just maybe, this team does not value their next 2-year picks given the current situation of the world, seeing how just about the writing's on the wall that there will not be a college football season this year. And who knows what's going to happen the year after. So maybe they're like, 2021, like that's a crapshoot anyway.
Yeah.
Take that 1st and the 3rd. I don't care.
or maybe they reviewed their last 4 or 5 years of drafts and was like, man, these are throwaway picks anyway.
Hey, DK was nobody's throwaway, my guy. Although he was a second
Name somebody outside of DK Metcalf that they have drafted in the first 3 rounds that turned out to be a starter or a good player on their team.
Hey, you're going to have to ask somebody that's a Seattle Seahawks fan. That's not me, my brother. I'm sorry.
I will tell you. I can tell you who it is because there's only one. He's the Griffin that has 2 hands. He's the only one. Look, man, that's what I'll say. You know, he's not even like a great. I wouldn't consider he's an above average cornerback.
Yo, speaking of, man, what's going on with Shaquille Griffin? Is he like? I know he's been out there, but like, was this team did they just pick him up as a novelty pick, as something like, look at us, look what we did?
They made a splash.
Or are they actually have a plan for him? Because I know the kid can play. I know actually he's old. He's much older now, so I know that man can play. I've seen it. I've seen it
Well,
in
let me put it.
college.
I'll be
So
honest with you. Okay, just from what I've seen with the way they've been moving with the defense this last season, which I say they've recently changed their defensive scheme. And I think what happened is that they drafted him, and in the same year that they drafted him, they made a defensive scheme change halfway through the year. And that new defensive scheme doesn't involve him. It doesn't suit him. And because it doesn't suit him, but he's still a talent, they still try to find ways to get him on the field, but it doesn't work. So,
okay.
you know what I mean? So that's why his time's been cut, but he still makes it onto the field. But it seems as though their scheme, what they've been trying to do is, from what I can see, is they're trying to do things like still do cover 3 on the outside, but also man up on the outside. They're looking to stop the run. They're one of the better teams when it comes to stopping the run. That's what they're looking to do. You know what I'm saying? And that requires linebackers that aren't undersized pass rushers.
But he can. But I've seen that boy. He's able to tackle. He's
I
able to tackle
believe
in
you.
space.
I agree with you. But once again, because when I say he doesn't fit the scheme, we're talking about what a defensive coordinator looks at when they look at a piece of paper and they start looking at numbers and names and they start looking at the players as equipment, basically, instead of looking at them for the individual talents. Then this is what happens. Like, because the way I've always seen it, and me and you have always seen it, is like, yo, if the talent is there, you just got to find a way to put them on the field. I don't care if your scheme says you should have a 6'1" free safety that plays more coverage than tackles. If you have Honey Badger on your team, you play him there. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? Like, that's the way. But not every coach is like that. Not every coordinator is like that, and we understand that.
Right.
I personally think whatever your scheme is, you should have a spot for him on the field to do what he does. And I do believe he's more than just a speed rusher. I do believe he's more than that. I've seen him tackle. I've seen him. He was one of the better tacklers, you know, in college. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So I think this is a case of they drafted him to make a splash. It was they probably already evaluated and determined what they were going to let him do and what they weren't going to let him do, you know, beforehand. Another topic we could get to another day, but kind of like the running back situation that we always talk about.
Right. Well,
if they draft you at a certain position, at a certain place in a draft, and you're getting paid a certain amount of money, it doesn't matter what your talent is. They already predetermined what they're going to use you for, and sometimes you can't fight your way out of that box.
Yeah, unfortunately. And one day we will get actually to that. But
yeah.
Anyway, man, I think that's all I got for today. You have anything that you want to talk about or need to get off your chest about sports? Want to talk about how you're a bandwagon fan anymore? Or
bandwagons, you know what I'm saying? You can check, you know what I'm saying? Do I got to post pics up here? I got to throw pictures up here?
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'll do, yeah, look, man.
Hey, man.
I ain't got to do, you know what I'm saying? I'll prove what I need to, but, you know, ain't no bandwagon over here.
Well, listen. Some people.
I mean, this is coming from a guy that ain't even a Sixers fan. You know what I mean? Like, you're a Philly guy. You're not a Sixers fan, but you judging me. But that's cool.
Well, listen, I'm glad you brought that up because I am not a Sixers fan for very specific reasons. I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I am a Flyers fan, and I am a Philadelphia Phillies supporter. The reason why I say Philly supporter is because I do not follow baseball closely enough to call myself a fan. But when it comes to baseball, if I'm picking a team, I'm picking the hometown. That's just what it is. I am not a Sixers fan, like I said, for Andrew Bynum, the way that they did the whole uh, what was it? The process, and not necessarily the process itself, but the process also while still taking top dollar from the everyday person, knowing that they're tanking their butt off. And and oh, Mikal Bridges recently, which just reaffirms why I don't like them. Brett Brown still being there reaffirms why I don't like them. Um, let me see. I could keep going, man.
I know you could, but this is what I want. This is the question that I pose to you, man. As a military brat that lived in a lot of places growing up, okay? As I spent 7 years in the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
I have spent 11 years in Vegas. Okay?
You know,
I want you to tell me which teams I'm supposed to be a fan of.
Listen.
Coming from a guy that has spent most of his life in Philly.
Listen, you are an adult now. So where you lived in your adult life,
I need to know the rules of this.
Should have no bearing on your fandom.
So like, Tupac shouldn't be claiming LA though.
No, he shouldn't.
Exhibit shouldn't be claiming LA. Luda ain't from Atlanta.
Luda is just about.
He's from Chicago. Hey. You know what, Mark? You know what? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to understand. I just want to know the rules to this. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
if you're condemning me, there's a whole lot of people you got to condemn.
No, because when it comes to Luda, I could give him Atlanta because Atlanta radio, that's where he was, and that's where he was found. That's where his fame came from. That's what made him who he is. So feel free to claim Atlanta because that's what made you who you are. Exhibit, same situation. And so now Tupac, like I said, that's a totally different case.
Where was Tupac? I was gonna say, where was he living when he made that first album? I would like to know.
Look, but I'm not getting into a sensitive subject like that because somebody might disagree and have a problem.
That's fine. That's fine. Fine. But what I'm saying is,
when it comes to you, you were a grown man when you lived in Las Vegas.
No, but this is my question though. This is my question. So when I became a fan, it was early at a young elementary school age. I did not live in a stationary place until I was 12 years old. I did not live in the DMV area until I was 12 years old. So all the teams that I was a fan of before, I should have just abandoned them and I should have just went with those teams right there.
Yes. Yes.
I feel so no loyalty to my actual original
Shawn,
team.
Who's my college football team?
No loyalty. Huh?
Who's my college football team?
Ohio State.
Why is that?
You spent some time living over there in Ohio.
Okay. I spent some time. I spent some time living there. Became affectionate to that particular space. Like I was like, all right, cool.
But you're in Philly now.
Yeah. So
but you're in Philly now.
Yes, but I'm also from.
But you was in Philly before.
Yeah.
So who was your team before Ohio State?
I still support Penn State. I still support Temple.
Oh, so Ohio you got State two favorites. Okay, look, man. Did I say
I have multiple favorites, or did I say I support? See, I use very specific wording, sir.
Yeah, you
only
out
have
here
one favorite.
Dodging, you know what I'm saying?
I only have one favorite, and that's Ohio State, my man.
Patches old Houlihan out here, you know, dodge, dive, duck, and dodge.
Doug,
you know
last time I checked,
bullets, man.
Last time I checked, I was an aircraft mechanic, so I've been dodging wrenches most of my life. So you.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, you know. I'm just saying, what you was doing out here, masterful. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you the big fella that's light on his toes, agile. You know.
Yeah. Well, I told you before I'm a genius, right? All right.
Here we go.
So,
Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's some good toe tapping and dancing around them questions, man. That was good, man. I couldn't quite trap you like I wanted to. I give you that.
here you go, man. All right, y'all. That's all I got for tonight.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, have a good night. Wear your mask.
Right then.
Peace.
Yep. Later.